There we go.
Now you got to introduce what we're doing.
Okay, okay, we are with the Oshkosh pre-service teachers and the Winona State grad program in instructional technologies, having a chat about technology issues as related to high school specifically. So the students, pre-service teachers, have questions prepared or on the fly, and we have some high school teachers here to do our best with them.
And middle school.
And middle school. First you swipe math, then I'll swipe the middle school.
Yeah, there you go.
Who's going first?
All right, I'll go. So my question was, how do you use technology in reading instruction besides just using a Kindle or audiobook?
Besides just using an audiobook, and what else?
Or a Kindle. Like rather than just giving them on Kindle and saying, here's the book, is there anything you specifically do for reading instruction?
Well, it depends on what you're talking reading instruction. If you're talking comprehension, etc., all of those things in a ton of different ways. I do a lot of creating of charts and discussions on, we've done it on Google Drive, and so then the kids then can fill out charts as groups and work together on, for example, they were looking at the ransom of Red Chief and finding examples of irony, and so then they were putting in those examples of irony into that. We've done discussions through Moodle, so they've done actual online discussions or chats about stories and asked questions through Moodle, or you can do it through other platforms as well.
You know, we're a one-to-one iPad school, and so we have the luxury of every one of our kids, 7, 12, has an iPad with them. So how many of you are high school English?
Well,
A couple of you, other middle school, the rest are middle school? Okay, so even in other contents like social studies, you guys learned that you write in your textbook and you mark and you annotate in your textbooks. Well, we hand these kids school issue books. They can't do that. Super quick and easy way, you take your iPad, you take a screenshot of page 87, and everybody annotates page 87. You teach them those close reading skills. You teach them how to mark a primary document in social studies, how to find cause and effect in a science text. And they can write right on it, use an app like Notability. They can highlight in different colors, and then that can be sent to you as a PDF as an assignment, or can be put in a folder for them to refer to as a study technique. So even little simple things like that, like remember, you can take a screenshot. Once you have a screenshot, you can draw on it. That's a really simple way to use technology that isn't the big integration piece. So remember, it doesn't have to be big.
One thing that I think about is I co-teach with a special ed teacher for one of my classes, and I have a few students who are at a reading level of about a first or second grade student, but yet they're in my 8th grade English class. And so something that he's actually taught me is he does a lot of annotating through his iPad through a dictation tool. And so he can't really write very well, but he can annotate what his speech is, and he does speech to text. And then on top of that, because he can't read all of the words or comprehend all of the words, his iPad can read to him as well. So really relying on some of those special ed teachers too to ask about some of the things that they know, because they know a little bit more of the other side for some of those other types of students as well.
And then sometimes like their whole retelling piece. For example, on one of the short stories we did, I told the kids, okay, now you need to give me a retelling of the story. You need to retell it, and so they used green screens, and they made some of it contemporary, some of it they did all kinds of different things. They all had to do some kind of a retelling of the story, and so that was really a great way for me to see that they did comprehend what had happened. And it was really short. I told them, oh, it's only this many points, so don't spend tons of time on it. I just want to see what you can do. And it turned out really, really well, actually.
I'm Brooke. Hi. I'm actually going to be a high school history teacher, but my question is more general. If you guys, do you always have a backup plan for your planned lessons that involve technology if they crash, or like if so, like what did you have to do, or
We should totally tell you, yes, we always have a backup plan, but it's never true.
Of course.
You don't always have a backup plan. I've gone to the computer lab multiple times. Something's failed and I said, okay, well, let's figure out what we're going to do instead. And we just figure something else out. So I try and problem solve as best I can to figure out what happens. But no, do I always have a backup plan if it's not going to work? No. And it's unrealistic to think that you're always going to have something else in mind.
You know, you're in a different, Kirsten is newer in the career than I am. You know, after I've been teaching 20 years, I used to, thinking of my 20-year-old self going into this, I had backup plans. I had backup plans for activities, technology aside. What if the activity doesn't work? The kids don't participate. It goes too fast. It takes too, like I had backup plans for my backup plans my first few years. I won't even lie. Now, you have a deeper bag of tricks and you can make things up. When the reading program I was talking about, literally we crashed their server in class trying to download the app. And there I sat in a 90-minute block when we were going to read the first chapter together, and we can't get the iPads, we can't even get the app to load. I had to immediately figure out, but again, that's a 20-year, 10 years, you get a bag of tricks where you can adjust and go on the fly. At the beginning, do you have backup plans?
This year, no. My biggest thing is I'm coming from a school that I was teaching at for about 4 years and I didn't have technology. And I come here and here they're like, oh, you need to come in and sign up for your laptop. You need to sign up for your iPad and home.
And your smart
Here's
board.
the whole thing about your smart board. And I'm just like, whoa, what do I do? So a lot of what I do is if technology doesn't work, I just say, all right, we're going to take out our notebooks and a pencil or a pen, and here's what we're going to do instead. And I come up with it on the fly, or a lot of the times the students have great ideas of how to fix the problem. Like they might just be like, did you try this? And I'm like, no. So then I try it and then it works. So a lot of the times you can just ask your kids and they'll have another suggestion, which is always good.
And remember, not every lesson has to have technology in it, you know, and don't get sucked down that path, because we talk so much about technology in education, and good teaching is still good teaching. Just because you have technology doesn't make it a great lesson. You know, paper and pencil still work to teach a great lesson. And so that's why I said earlier, it has to be about a great lesson first and technology second. Even when we started with the one-to-one, everybody was like, oh, I have to start all over. I have to find an app for that. And you don't. You don't have to find an app for everything. They're great apps. Don't get me wrong. But it's like everything else. If you use it every day, the kids, they're going to get sick of it too, and they're going to want variety. So keeping things mixed up, consistent but mixed up, is also really good. It's a really good strategy.
Thank you.
I got one. My name is Marina. I'm going to be a high school science teacher. So mine's going to be a little more general as well. But with all the technology there is, and kids on cell phones, and you tell them to do these things, that how do you keep them like focused on the task and not?
We're laughing with you.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
Did you say high school?
Yeah.
Never forget, you are in charge of your classroom. It doesn't matter how many devices you put in front of them, you are still in charge. And if it is an iPad down moment, it is an iPad down moment. Done. If your policy is cell phones on the side counter, cell phones out of sight, that is your policy. Your school will guide you, obviously, as to what the policies are, but you ultimately are in charge of your classroom. And that was one thing that even our veteran teachers struggled with when we went one-to-one. Oh, they have to be out all the time, or I've lost control, they're gaming. And we just really had to remind ourselves, you are in charge of your classroom. You take the device. There are consequences that are built into your syllabus, built into your school. As far as if they need the device open, you need to be on the move constantly. You'll know this or this, like the body language, they give it away. Like when you're walking to them and they start flipping, you know that they've got too many things open, and you pick them up and you click, and there's all of their, you have to know, I pop iPads open off their desks, and I, double click the home, and I swipe things closed and say, okay, try again. You're in charge. And as long as you assert that firm, fair, consistent expectation, you're in charge. But yeah, it's a distraction, no doubt, and it'll be one that you'll have to battle.
The funny part is you probably have done this yourselves, been in class and you're on some kind of a device that you shouldn't be doing. Your teacher knows. You will figure it out when you're in the classroom. Within 5 minutes, you will know when kids are gaming.
You're not as sneaky as you think you are.
Right. Kids aren't. Like, if a kid is in study hall, we can pretty much pick out which kids are doing what they're supposed to, which kids are not. And so randomly during a class or study, I'll say, so what are you working on? I'm reading my book. And it's like, right, except that you're reading your book means you're going like this on your iPad. No, I don't think so. So your iPad comes to me and we look at what you're actually doing. Right. And that child has never tried it ever again, so just pointing out to them that I know that you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and keeping those guidelines in place and saying, if you are caught gaming, your iPad is mine or your whatever is mine, and you don't get it back until, whatever, however you create those rules, then stick to them. Don't give warnings. Say, nope, this is it, because they will try and push to see how far they can get from you. It's just, normal classroom management. Set the line and keep the line. Yeah. And it will kind of resolve itself.
And I'm thinking of I have 2 students lately who they've just been glued to their iPad no matter what I do. And so I finally went up to them both quietly and I said, okay, boys, here's the deal. I said, if I say iPad's down, I mean iPad's down. If we can't do that, I will be contacting both of your parents, and your iPads will be in your lockers for my class the entire time, all week long. You better bet that those boys put those iPads down immediately as they came into my class today. And they were like, all right, we got it. Because they know I'm not afraid to contact their parents.
And you may see it some with your peers. We at the high school literally call it iPad crack. Some of these kids, I have a couple of students, they don't even know that they have picked up their device and are playing it. Like, it literally is a compulsion, and it is an involuntary. I had one kid, we took his iPad, he grabbed someone else's when he was like just mindlessly, and he was trying to get into someone else's iPad. So there are some that really can't handle it. And then they earn spots right up in front of you or back by your desk where you can always see their screen, or they get alternate assignments. And those are within your power as a teacher to do. And just never forget that. You are in charge of your classroom, not the technology. So don't let that drive your decisions.
Can you guys explain like the one-to-one class, like a little bit more? Like, do they literally have an iPad that they just like have?
Yeah, it's a school issued iPad. Our school has purchased iPads for every student, grades 7 through 12. Now sixth graders. And they have a checkout. There's an insurance policy. There's a sign out. Kids can buy their own, but basically they rent it with this insurance policy. It's a school device. And we buy app suites. We get a bulk discount to buy apps. So we have consistent apps. Notability is a really powerful app that all of our students have. Educreation, Show Me, Nearpod. I mean, there's some amazing apps. And because we're one-to-one, every teacher has one, every kid has one, we can design some pretty amazing lessons because we tried the bring your own. Well, then I would have an Android phone and I'd have a Kindle and I had an iPad and I had a lap, and you can't count on what you have to necessarily do a certain thing. That was a very difficult year. And so, yeah, one-to-one means they all have a Chromebook, they all have an iPad, they all have some sort of a tablet.
Or a laptop.
Or a laptop of some sort issued by the school. And it's a game changer.
When it's one-to-one, it is a school device, and so you have the power to tell them to put it away, to shut it, to take it away, all of that
lock
stuff. To lock it, yep.
We have locks on them.
So you know, the kids walk in with a device, they bring it with them, they take it home at night so then they can work on homework. A lot of the kids, we have a lot of classes at rooms that are flipped, so they do the instruction through videos at night as homework, and then when they get to class, they actually do the classwork, and the teacher walks around and does all of the, like, does helping, etc., which is a lot of what our whole math department actually, 7-12 is completely flipped. The teachers don't stand up in the front of the classroom and instruct a whole lot.
No.
It is all through video, and then their class time is spent working individually with kids and helping kids where they're at. And so when you have iPad technology, the kids can download those videos ahead of time, take them home, watch them, and then when they come to class, then they're ready to actually work. So having that technology really allows you to have more flexibility with how you use your class time, etc.
I'll go.
Yep.
I'm Courtney. I'm also going to be a high school science teacher. I was wondering, like, I know the subject that, like, I really want to teach biology. I know the subject isn't all that interesting for most people. So I was wondering, how can you use technology or not use technology to make class more interesting for the students who find it boring or even useless?
I'll kind of talk to this because I literally just watched a 7th grade science teacher this morning talk about how he kind of gamified and differentiated his whole entire science class. And it floored me what he has done. So he has done things like he created what are called bundlers, B-U-N-D-L-R. It's a website, and he finds really cool videos about animals and cells and plants and all kinds of stuff, and he creates little bundles of those awesome videos, and he added them to a website so they could go to whatever topic they wanted to, and they could watch all of these really interesting videos he's been finding. So it's kind of like a Pinterest, only for videos or blogs. And so that's one way, is kind of giving them some, you know, self-choice. They can choose what kind of topic they want to look at or what they want to look at that day. There's lots of other, you know, biology, you have some of the frog dissection apps and some of that kind of stuff, but you really have a lot of resources at your disposal. And not just science resources, generic resources. There's things like Kahoot or Quizlet or Edpuzzler or Zaption, or, I mean, there's all kinds of resources where you can integrate them. So Kahoot is like a quiz. So the kids all take a quiz. It's kind of like what you get to do at Buffalo Wild Wings, you know, so you can do that within the class, the trivia quizzes. Yep. So you can do something like that, or there's quizzes, Q-U-I-Z-Z-I-Z-Z, or Q-U-I-Z-I-Z-Z, that he was using, showed us this morning. That's kind of just like Kahoot, or Edpuzzler or Zaption, or Edpuzzle, where you can take like a YouTube video and you can embed questions in it so that the kids can actually answer the questions and you can check their comprehension as you go. But then he also created a whole document of, he uses Google Docs and Google Classrooms. And so the kids have, like, they're going through med school right now. And so they have activities that they have to complete in order to get through their year of med school. And he has all of it in Google Docs, and they kind of self-pace. And so they can go through it as they want to go through it, and there's labs associated, and he has videos attached to so much of it. So, you know, you really, it's kind of up to you to design and decide, but you can make things not as boring by doing some of those things within it too.
I also teach a tier 2 intervention. So our at-risk kids, because I am double licensed in math and English, and I team teach it with a social studies teacher. And then between the two of us, we do biology. So I live, breathe biology and cry when they bring in anything other than Punnett squares. There are some amazing web quests out there for biology topics that guide kids through. For me, thinking about learning the biology and working with these kids, anytime I can make something move or rotate it or slide it and drag it and see it connect or pull off a layer, that is so much more engaging in a learning moment than turning the pages in my textbook. And there's a lot of those things available. The other piece I would just challenge you is, if you can find a way to effectively teach the vocabulary in biology, God bless you and your kids will do great, because the biology vocab just about kills us. So we love Study Blue. It's a free app. You make a deck of cards, and on like the iPads or phone, you can flip through them, say yes, no, I know them from computer. You can make print flashcards. You can make a quiz for yourself. We put a lot of our kids in through that. If you can find ways to focus on that vocabulary, different apps, quizzes, your kids will be miles ahead because the vocabulary does them in. I mean, they can't even read the test questions most of the time because they don't understand the words in the test questions. So just a heads up as your, vocab, super important. And please apply to schools in Minnesota because we need science teachers really bad. We couldn't find a long-term science sub. We have a history guy in doing a science sub right now because we couldn't find a science sub. So please come to Minnesota.
We couldn't find a middle school or language sub either. We have an elementary teacher taking over. So.
Yep. So get your Minnesota licenses ready, kids.
Okay, I'm Fallon. I'm actually not an education major anymore. I just switched my major last week. But I still think technology in general can be used across the board. I don't think you have to be in education to use it. My question is more, how do you use it in your daily life? Like just to stay organized and on top of all your tasks and appointments and things like that.
Google Calendars?
Google Calendar. I would show you my Google Calendar, but it would probably scare you. It's color-coded, job stuff, kids stuff, personal stuff. Yeah, Google Calendar. My inbox, I think I have 1,500 unopened emails that I just let slide to the bottom. Labels and folders in emails are super important. I never delete anything so that I can back search it.
I have folders in my Google Drive.
Yeah. Oh my God. Figure out how to organize your docs before you get 150 of them.
Yes, very true. I think you can use technology in so many ways in your own life. It really just depends on who you are and how you want to use it. I've done things, I do Pinterest things for my classroom, and I do Pinterest things for my family, and I do Pinterest things for recipes, and I do, all kinds of stuff there. Or, I might be reading news stories across a wide variety of different websites, etc. So it really depends on you. The one thing I would say is always remember to keep that balance. Mm-hmm. Don't become the person who's always connected to your device or a device. Keep that balance that you have those actual relationships with people that are face-to-face and not just through a device, because that's really important. And know that there's times to shut it off. My family has very much a no technology policy at the supper table. Yes. And actually even, I have a 1-year-old, and so from the time that I get home until the time he goes to bed, I pretty much am not on my technology device unless we're FaceTiming grandma and grandpa. So really, as you start families and you start, serious relationships, that kind of stuff, remember that you aren't your technology. You are yourself first, and that technology can very much come later.
Yeah, I put do not disturb on my phone. It automatically sets every single night at the same time so that I'm not on it. And I don't use my Google Calendar as a personal thing. I carry around paper pencil planner because I still can't use my Google Calendar as an individual. I can't do it.
We just got our 5-minute wrap up. I'm guessing that's what you guys just got, your 5-minute wrap up. Is there anything else random or otherwise that we can help you with from a range of experience, both number of years of doing it and disciplines and, high school to middle school?
Yeah, I taught elementary for 3 years.
And
Me too.
elementary? Yeah. God bless them. Yeah. So how long are you guys from student teaching? This year yet? 2 years out?
Next semester.
Next semester.
Like a year.
Okay. Mid-year grads, that mid-year grad bit, if you student teach in the fall, I did that and then you get a jump on all the subs, pick up a long-term sub in January. You've got 4 months experience on everybody else come hiring season when they're still like, well, in my classroom.
And you have a 4-month interview, basically.
Yeah. And then you can be like, well, I really did have to handle a fight in my classroom, and this is how I did it. It's a really nice jump if you have that opportunity to work your schedule to get out mid-year. It's a nice little perk, sub for a year and then pick up a job. Anything else?
Super. Pretty good. All your answers were amazing. So thank you.
Right.
I've been at school since 7 a.m. I don't think there's anything amazing coming out of my mouth anymore. It's an amazing profession, you guys. Don't get burned out. Keep balance. The first few years are hard. I mean, it's hard. It's a lot to learn. It's a lot to figure out. Student teaching can't prepare you really for what you're about to do. Sorry. It'll kind of prepare you, but this is a baptism by fire profession. Find someone, that first job, find someone to lean on in your building face to face, because you are going to need them, and just stick with it. It's, you make it past year 3, you'll be a lifer, and it is an amazing job that I want to get up and come to every single day. No matter how mad I am or how frustrated, I want to be with my kids in my classroom every single day. And if you find that passion, it's worth everything.
And don't burn yourself out. Don't try and be that teacher your first year, because that's impossible. You might think that you're this great teacher your first year, or you might try everything and that you know so much more. Sorry, it doesn't happen. Everybody thinks that their first year, and then you realize after a few years, you're like, God, I was terrible.
Oh, so bad.
It's very true. You are, but don't burn yourself out. You are not going to have a flipped classroom your first year. You are not going to have technology in every lesson your first year, and you're not going to have great lessons every day of your first year. I've been a first year teacher probably 7 times in the 10 years I've taught.
5 times.
I'm a first year teacher again this year. Last year I was teaching 1st through 4th grade technology for the last 2 years. Before that I was teaching 7th and 8th grade math and talented and gifted 5-8, and I taught American history before that, and now I'm a 7-8 communications and English teacher. So I've taught so many different things, but I've also had to be a first year teacher so many different times. And I had to find that balance. My first year, I was at school all the time till 10, 11, midnight, and you burn out fast, and don't do that to yourself. Realize that I'm not going to have perfect lessons, but if I do my best, that's what matters. Or, if I try, that's what matters.
Okay, there's your pep talk. Scare you and pep talk at the same time.
Can I say one thing to them?
Sure, go for it.
We're both new teachers. It's only my 2nd year. You can survive it. And half the time I'm like, what am I doing? But you will get through it, and it will be okay.
We just tell them where to go and what to do.
Yeah. The other teachers, they got your back.
And that's the piece. We're both new as 8th grade English teachers, and so we really lean on each other, and we try and prep things together. And it saves a whole lot of work for both of us, because I have 3 classes I have to prep. I have to prep 8th grade English, 7th grade English, and communications, and all 3 have a brand new curriculum this year. And so I don't have something where I can rely on something someone else did. So us working together has been, huge. Sorry, we talk a lot. We'll stop now.
English teachers. Good luck, you guys, and we really appreciate you wanting to chat with us and spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.